Good evening, guys. What's up? It is Gina Ifo, the one and only African superstar. Tonight, I want to talk about this topic. I want to delve into my opinion. What the largest weakness, in my opinion, is. You know what I mean? First off, big shout out to the African superstar family. Everybody showing their love and support to the one and only. Please make sure you head over to Bandcamp and add my latest EP to your collection. Yes, if you haven't heard any of my music and you claim to be a fan, a supporter, it doesn't make any sense at all. So please make sure that you show your love and support in a tangible way, like I talked about on my last live stream. I want to give a special shout outs to Miss Jennifer Edie. Sent a PayPal in following that show, and several of you guys did donate during the show. So thank you so much for your love and support. I want to talk about what is the biggest challenge. I'm someone who likes to look at the root cause of issues when I see them. Very rarely do I look at the topical display of something that's going on. It's kind of it's the difference between someone looking at the flames of a fire and, the investigator that actually goes through the rubble and tries to find out, okay, what was the source and cause of this fire? Oh, this looks unnatural. This looks like arson. This smells like gasoline. I'm the kind of person who wants to investigate and find out what is causing these things. And so when I look at our people, I think, the biggest problem is that they have an inferiority complex. Now, I'm going to play a clip at the 5-minute mark. Okay. I'm going to play a clip at the 5-minute mark of something very disturbing that was brought to my attention that's here going on in Ghana. And I just learned about it today. I was completely unaware, and I did share it around to some of my friends, and I wanted them to be aware. I wanted to get the word out. And some of them, have told me like, yes, I was aware. Or even one of my friends said they've been to this area in Ghana that's being affected. And when I look at just the way that we interact in general, I think that it really is highly connected to an inferiority complex. Many of our people genuinely believe that there's nothing good to them. They're not capable of things. They're not beautiful. They're not smart. And unfortunately, a lot of that is happening here on the continent. A lot of African people believe the West is superior, believe white is right, believe, that things from our culture, things around us, they're not good. They're not up to par. And the damaging thing is it all starts with your mind. Okay, it all starts with your mind. You are what you eat. If you think lowly of yourself, it begins to dictate how you behave. So I'm going to play this clip at the 5-minute mark, and then I'm going to come back and discuss it and correlate it with this issue. I know one thing that, for instance, like the Black Panther movement promoted was empowerment. They empowered, Black is beautiful. They would rock their afros. You know what I'm saying? They were trying to create that confidence in our people. And it did make a lot of people confident in who they were. And our confidence, is very, very intimidating to other people around, because there's a lot of elements around us, for instance, that cannot be duplicated. So when we get in our own right confident, these other people who are very jealous of us or in competition with us, they know they can't compete. And so they benefit from us having these inferiority complexes. It makes us more accessible to them. It makes us more vulnerable to them. Big shout out to the African superstar family. Guys, if you're here, make your presence known. I'm in the building. The biggest challenge, in my opinion, confronting Black men and women is the inferiority complexes that they have. They think that other people are better than them. If you're here in the continent, people firmly believe other places are better to live. You know, that's why if you come and you have a conversation with, you know, a continental and you tell them, oh my gosh, you live in a sunny climate, you live, you know, 10 minutes from the beach, you're eating organic foods, there's no violence here, you know, you start talking about all the positives, they negate it because their mind has already been groomed to think that they are inferior. Whatever they have, whatever they produce is inferior. And actually, until in many cases, other people will start to show some appreciation of that item, then the Black person will say, oh, wow, okay, you know, it's been acknowledged by this third party, so it actually is good. But them on their own recognizance, being able to recognize, wow, I'm beautiful, I'm strong, I'm capable, I'm this, I'm that. It's an area where there's a lot of deficits. This is why Black men, for instance, have a lot of contention with Black women. They think their women are inferior. They think other women are superior. They think they're going to get a better treatment with these other women. They think their kids are going to be more beautiful with these other women. They think life is going to be better. You know, that's why here in, you know, on the continent, sometimes people will want a foreign wife or husband because they think the implied value. Okay, I get with them. You know, they probably have more money. They have more access. They can help me travel. You know what I mean? They start looking at the broader spectrum, and it's literally like, okay, one of my own people can't help me escalate in so many ways. But if I get with this outsider, I can, you know, move up. And this mentality is destroying our people. So let me go ahead and play the clip that I'm talking about that came to my attention. Big shout out to African Superstar family, guys. Please make sure you like the stream today. Don't forget also to support our content if you appreciate it. The biggest challenge facing Black men and women is their inferiority complexes. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video for you.
How did some beaches in Accra, Ghana get from this to this? To find out what was going on, I went to Ghana's coastal capital with a team of investigators from Greenpeace Africa, and what we found was beyond shocking. The key questions we asked ourselves were how much clothing was arriving here, why was so much of it being dumped in rivers and beaches, and who was responsible. We knew that a shocking 15 million secondhand items of clothing arrive in Ghana every week. So in the last year, we visited Kantamanto, where tons of secondhand clothes arrive every day, and we found that up to 500,000 items of clothing waste from the market end up in open spaces and informal dump sites every single week. Market sellers buy bales of internationally imported clothes, most of which are of poor quality.
For most people, they've invested all of their life savings into this business, and it's sad that they get to buy a bill, open the bill, and most of the things in there are things they can't sell.
They normally break their bills, and the bad ones many than the good ones. The bad ones are many.
We want better ones. All these ones are baller. Yeah. That's what we say here. Yeah. It's not good.
We also visited informal dump sites, climbing mountains of textile waste, where we collected samples and performed infrared testing on them to see what these clothes were mainly made of. And, surprise, surprise, they are predominantly made of plastic. Our investigation found that some of these clothes are also burned as fuel to heat water in public washhouses, leading to levels of air pollution far exceeding European air guide values by almost 200 times. We can't stand by and let this injustice continue. But how do we solve this? The Ghanaian government must ban the import of textile dead waste or useless clothing from the global north immediately. Furthermore, we must all call for mechanisms to make polluters and cloth companies pay for the environmental and health damage they cause. So share this video and expose the destruction being caused by the fast fashion and clothing industries. Africa is not your dumpster.
All right, guys, thanks for hanging in there with me. So this video came across my desk today, and I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked that this was happening. Now, I know here in Accra, I'm not sure exactly where this location is relative to me, like how many hours away it is or whatnot. But I have noticed, waste coming up on the beaches in some cases, and it has been clothing. And so when I watched this story and I got the understanding that secondhand clothes from the West are coming to Ghana, several million pieces a week, they said. And basically, these things are not good. They're not even going to be items that can be resold or reused. They're very low quality. All right. And I began to process the whole thing, and I came to the conclusion that this situation that's happening in Ghana, is yet another example of how we suffer from inferiority complex. So let me talk about it. First and foremost, beautification of beaches and most beach locations is like vital. Beaches can be a huge value to the economy and tourism and all that stuff. I have traveled the world. I've currently been to over 20 countries. I've been to a lot of beach environments such as Puerto Rico, Mexico, Bermuda, Greece, Spain, Portugal, Zanzibar. I've been to Italy, the island of Capri. See that off the top of my head, those are some of the places I've been. Miami, so I've been to a lot of beach environments, to see how they are. And I've actually never seen beaches be managed the way they are here in Ghana. You know what I mean? The beautification and the preservation of these beaches is not a high priority around here. But obviously, Ghanaians would travel to other locations and marvel and look at the beach and be thinking, oh, wow, this is beautiful. I know a lot of continentals have been visiting the Caribbean. There's an agreement currently between Ghana and Jamaica, I believe, is like visa free. I know some Kenyans can go to some of the islands, Barbados and whatnot, visa free and all of that. So they'll go to these islands and marvel at these beach environments and be like, wow. Meanwhile, we have coastal areas here that we are neglecting. It all comes back to low self-esteem. Why are these sellers, for instance, buying all this secondhand clothes from the West? Why? Because in their mind, it's coming from the West and it is going to be better. It's going to be good. It's going to be valuable. Okay? Now, the West is totally complicit because the West is deliberately sending unusable goods. Okay, they're sending goods that are waste. They're essentially using Ghana in this instance as a waste, a wasteland, because they're sending things that are not going to be used, not able to be sold. And then therefore comes the problem of how are these things going to be disposed of? And so they're going into the waterways and so on and so forth. I want to encourage those of you guys. I think for a lot of adults, it's going to be difficult to start reconditioning your mind because you're 40, 50, 60, 70. And you may have grown up your whole life having these inferiority complexes and having, very, very little confidence in your abilities, your appearance, whatever it may be. But I think a lot of us really should focus our energy on the youth. I'm always saying that. And, I've been personally compelling myself to find a way beyond my music of how I can minister to the kids and how I can empower the kids. Because the bottom line is when you have confidence and you have identity, there's a lot of things you're not going to go for. Okay. One of the things you're not going to go for is disrespect. Okay. You're not going to go for disrespect because you believe that you deserve to be respected. Okay. It's no secret, for instance, in like a case of domestic violence, for instance. Typically, abusers go for a specific type of victim. Okay. They go for the person with the chaotic life background. They go for the woman with low self-esteem. They go for the person who is meek and mild, shy, quiet. They go for the person who maybe has been abused in their past. You know, they look for specific type of deficits because they feel that this person is going to be a lot more easier to control and manipulate and abuse, you know, because typically, you know, there are statistics to show that if you are exposed to domestic violence or encounter it in your youth, that will make you more likely to tolerate it or be involved with it in the future because it's a norm for you. It has become a norm for you. All right. Now, there are other people, for instance, that these kind of individuals will never approach because they know for a fact, oh no, that person is not going to go for this. You know, that person is not going to let me get away with it. That person's not going to, you know, not going to take it. You know, our people, because of these inferiority complexes, we let people bully us. We let people talk down to us. We let people be rude and inappropriate. And we don't check them. We don't set the status quo. We don't command respect. I mean, on my last live stream, I talked about James and Farah. Here you go, having black men getting, you know, basically their counterparts dogged right in front of them, and they're sitting laughing. You know, they don't have the balls to stand up and say, yo, man, that's uncalled for. You know what I'm saying? Like, you went too far. I don't appreciate that. Nothing. It's an inferiority complex. And you see, when when the mind is controlled, the rest of the body and the actions that are taken are controlled. You know, your brain is the motherboard of your body. Everything that goes on starts with the brain. That's why what's the term, guys? I'm gonna give y'all, there's a term. It starts with brain. Who can guess it? The term means that, you know, a person's influence is being manipulated. You know, they're getting certain information to make them have a perspective and behavior. What's the phrase? It starts with brain. Hello. I know this is a little tricky. I hope somebody can figure it out. We got about 13 of you in here. First trivia question. What's the term relating to when they kind of control your exposure? Big shout outs to Boom Junglewood. Brainwash. Brainwash. Okay, our society knows, okay, if I can get you believing such and such and such and such, that's going to start translating into how you move. All right. So in reality, black women, hello, let me just tell you, we're the standard of beauty. We're literally the standard of beauty. We possess versatility. We possess astounding beauty that's unmatched. In many cases, cannot be duplicated. We have natural confidence, natural swag, fashion sense. We set the stage. Our body is the quintessential female form. Okay, you know, in historical ancient societies, the more buxom you are, the bigger breasts you have, the more curves, it means fertility. Okay, it also means that you're going to be able to handle your family. Your husband's going to eat well. Your kids are going to eat well, because that is our form that people want to duplicate. Let's be real. Hold on. Pause. Stop the show. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. Stop the show. I haven't stopped the show in a minute, but let me stop the show. Look at all the problems in the world. Okay, look at all the problems in the world. There's so many problems in the world. These people are busy trying to figure out how they can use cosmetic surgery to do what? To mimic our bodies. Okay? The white women were tired of having those flat backs. Huh? They wanted more full lips. They wanted bigger breasts. They wanted a Coca-Cola body shape. I'm talking about millions of problems in the world. You can't figure out how to convert salt water to fresh water. You can't solve, racism, police brutality. You know, gang violence is rampant. You can't handle cyberbullying, school shootings. You can't fix the water in Flint. You can't do diddly squat that would actually have positive impacts on people's lives. Hello. Meanwhile, in Dubai, they're cloud, I think it's called cloud seeding, where they figured out how to make it rain in Dubai because Dubai is a desert climate and they need water. They're using their science and technology to figure out stuff like that. But in America, in the Western world, we're figuring out how to do BBLs. We are legit the woman that they all want to be. It is a fact. But if we can get people to believe something else, hello, we have the standard of beauty. We literally, because again, I'm still in my stop the show. You never emulate something that's inferior. If you don't take anything away from this show tonight, take that away, ladies and gentlemen. You do not emulate anything that is inferior. None of us do. Okay? None of you have looked at the homeless man under the bridge and envied him and say, you know what, I'm ready to, pack out of my apartment, leave my car somewhere and come and live on the streets with the homeless man. None of us have envied a starving child. None of us have envied a mentally ill person. We've seen people out there with their mental ill crisis. None of us have envied people that are sick, disabled, in the hospital. Is anybody envying P. Diddy right now? Any of you guys looking at him and saying, ooh, he just got indicted by the FBI. His reputation's going down. Yeah, that's what I want. No, people only want to emulate what is superior. People only want to emulate what is good, what is successful, what is beautiful. Does it make sense to you that the societal superior people are always obsessed with whatever we produce, whatever we create? They want to emulate it. They want to copy it. They want to always be aware of it. Why is that? Could it actually be that we're the superior ones? I mean, I'm just saying. Because that's how I see it. That's how I see it. Because I know the very fact. But you guys see, like, what I'm talking about tonight is that, unfortunately, the majority of our people are dealing with inferiority complexes. So they can't even see straight. Okay? Here you are, Black woman, the standard of beauty, but yet in some cases you're trying to emulate the people who are trying to emulate you. We now have sisters going and getting BBLs, getting augmentation. We have Black women lightening their skin, and wearing certain hairstyles, getting contacts. I've seen some Black women wearing like blue eyes and things like that. Listen, that's how warped it's getting. Okay? You are the standard of it all. And if you didn't know, Black men, the white men, the Asian men, the Latino men, they all want to be you too. You guys are the tallest, most athletic, most decorated athletes in the world, the best musicians, the most handsome, known to be strong, known to be virile, have the biggest, sexual organ in the whole, among all men. You have natural swag. You are influential. Hello? Some of the most famous men of all time are Black men. The world is so threatened of Black men with their influence that in a lot of cases they have to end their lives because they feel that this guy is legit going to take over the whole world. Even just a mere musician like Bob Marley was a threat to the American government. You see, but if you don't know these things, and if you don't realize these things, and if you don't walk in these things, you become a pawn in their game. And that's why I tell you, it's so embarrassing when I see my people, pander, because I'm like, Why are you doing that? These people are not even your level. These people are not even your class. And you're letting someone who's not your class diss you, disrespect you, you know what I'm saying? Make you a laughing stock. It's just like, no. You know, it all starts with the mind. Shout out to Emmanuel. Free your mind and your behind will follow. You know, there are several versions of that song. You know, free your mind and the rest will follow. And then Emmanuel's version. But free your mind. But look, like I said, look at what I just stated. Okay. The sheer obsession of the rest of the world with us and their subsequent hatred of us at the same damn time. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? Why do they hate us? Are we the founders of the world wars? Hello? Are we the architects of the slave trade? Do we perpetuate unsolicited violence on the world? Huh? Are we out there destroying wildlife? Is that our history or is that their history? Why do they have so much hatred, for instance? I'm going to tell y'all why. If you didn't never know why we're so hated. If you've asked yourself, I don't understand why we're so hated. Because we are the natural born leaders of this world. We are so effortlessly innovative and beautiful. They can't stand it. If you know anything about the Asian world, okay, the Asian world, they recognize that they may not naturally be equipped with things, but they're very regimented and they believe in practice. They believe in effort, you know, and dedication. They believe with hard work, they can, you know, go further and achieve and so on and stuff. The amount, if you guys ever watch these like K-pop bands and things like that, the amount of practice and time that it takes for them to emulate our people, you know, our dance moves, our style, our swag, you know, they literally take so much energy to emulate that. Why? Why? Like I said, the Western world uses their science to mimic us. Men, you know, I don't know if we have any macho guys watching me at the moment. Let me state for the record, hello. Black men have the most incredible, especially those here on the continent, you know, people from homogeneous environments that haven't done a lot of mixing. I mean, they have the best genes. Unbelievable. When it comes to the men, they literally have the quintessential male physique. Okay, when you go to Rome, you go to Italy, you go to Greece, you see these statues of the male form. What does the male form look like? Broad shoulders, big rippling muscles, six pack, a little waist, thunder thighs, tall, full head of hair, teeth. Who is that? Is that Brad? Have you actually, you heard the saying Greek god? Have you seen a lot of Greek men? Do they look like that? Or who actually looks like that? Who actually in real life, not a depiction, but who actually looks like that? Who actually looks like that is black men. Black men here in Africa. Definitely. You see, so at both pinnacles of society, you know, the quintessential male form and female is us. We are what we are. And that is why so much effort and investment has gone into destroying our confidence, because obviously that's the ultimate power team that cannot be destroyed. You know, when a black man and black woman start loving on each other, that is the ultimate power team. When the black man and black women are confident and they're raising their kids, you see, it will create a problem for them. You see, we won't be as controllable as we are currently, because we let them do what they do because of our inferiority complex. You see, we don't speak up. We don't fight back because in the back of our mind, we feel like we deserve it. We feel like we're stupid. We feel like, the good life is not for us. So we allow them to mistreat us, and we don't never check them when the moment comes. This is, in my opinion, the biggest problem facing Black men and Black women: inferiority complex. If you are a religious person, you should not also simultaneously have an inferiority complex. Your holy books tell you that you were fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God. You see, when I'm not particularly religious, but that part always gave me a whole lot of confidence because it basically implies I'm godlike. I'm divine. I have a song on my brand new EP called You Are Divine, in which I'm singing to the Black man. I'm singing to him and saying, you are divine. You are a supreme being. You are everything. And that's how you should look at yourself. And I talked about it briefly in the last live stream. When you look at all the external factors around your existence and perhaps how you came to be and also the longevity of your life, you would have to conclude that you are meant to be here. Because there are a lot of external factors that could obviously have ended your life, or your life never even come to be, or you just could have been just one of those eggs or semen that just never manifested into anything. They say like hundreds of semen get released, for instance, when a man has an orgasm or whatever. Obviously a woman doesn't just have one or two eggs. She has she has thousands of eggs that start from the beginning of her menstrual cycle all the way up until she starts to get in menopause. We're talking about decades of eggs. Okay? So when you get into the biology of how you were even formed, the fact that you went through, the process of birth, and you grew in the womb and all that stuff, then you actually came out into the world, and all these daily things that are confronting us, all these daily challenges, all these daily threats and things like that. Do you ever think about, the fact that you have avoided car accidents, or if you have had a car accident, you came back to life, you healed, you recovered. Have you ever thought about, I think about it sometimes. I take a lot of airplanes. I fly several times a year. Some people don't fly for years or ever fly. Every time you get on a plane, you have that probability of being involved in an airplane situation. And we all know how most of those will go. All right. You're out there driving your car. There's drunk drivers all the time out there. People distracted on the roads. Accidents happen. Bad weather. All these things are going on every day. And yet you are navigating all those things. And sometimes, most of the time we're unaware of things that are going on around us that potentially could affect us. I was, when I was in Columbus over the summertime, I was driving along this road, Broad Street. Shout out to anybody who's in Columbus. Big shout out to African Superstar family. We got 16 of you. Please make sure you hit the likes. I'm going to start with the channel, the comments after this. So I was driving on Broad Street, right, downtown. And I saw this car coming this cross street. I was approaching this cross street, and I saw this car. He was just going really fast down this side street. And I was thinking, like, why is he speeding like that? Is he going to slow down? Because he's coming into, the Broad Street, Broad Street, people have the right of way because obviously he's coming from a side street. He's supposed to stop, look both ways and then turn out once he has the ability to turn. The guy pulls right out into traffic. He T-bones the car in front of me. Okay. And I know that the car in front of me didn't have any concept that this car was coming because we had the right of way. Okay. So he comes, he T-bones the car right in front of me. He hit the car so hard, the car flipped about 2-3 times and landed on its hood, the top of it. The windshield was completely shattered. And this was in broad daylight. It was probably about like 7:45, 8 p.m. It was still light outside. And I was like, thank you, to my ancestors. My ancestors blanket me in protection. It's something I ask them for all the time. I've had several close calls. Several close calls. And I realized, like, literally, couple seconds later, that could have been my car. And that accident happened. It was to no fault of the driver at all. You know what I'm saying? Just a reckless driver came, T-boned her, took off I pulled over, called the police, and then the other passerby started going to the car. Actually, there was a woman in there and 2 infant children. The airbags deployed and, they were able to get everybody out. I mean, they looked obviously stunned, but, they didn't have any visible serious injuries. But the person that caused the accident took off. I say all this to say that from day to day, guys, we're existing explicitly because we're meant to be here. There's a purpose on us. Especially those of us that are conscious, those of us that are leaders, those of us that are bold, those of us that are unapologetic. Lord knows the world needs our contributions. Okay, we are more than thousands of people because of the impact that we're able to have and our lack of fear in doing that. You must cultivate your confidence. How do you cultivate your confidence? How do you cultivate your confidence? First understanding that very fact that I talked about in regards to you are meant to be here. That's a huge part. You know what I mean? The fact that you come from a lineage of survivors. You come from people who were able to keep on existing despite the various challenges of their time. That means that there is a specific reason why you are existing. It's survival of the fittest. Your ancestors are also survival of the fittest because, we have a lot of stuff going on in our generation, but trust me, the previous generations had equal or greater than things going on. Some countries had wars. Some countries had famine. Some countries had invasions. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things going on. Just imagine living in America during the late 50s, 60s, before civil rights, where white people are off the hook now, but they was double off the hook then. They were so empowered and all the laws backed them and they were just out of control, especially the American South. Our ancestors managed to survive all these things. So understanding that your being here, first of all, is destined, should add some confidence to you. Because you should come to the conclusion, man, I'm supposed to be here. I'm for real supposed to be here. And definitely if you've had threats or situations that come to you, and you've survived them, you've overcome them. Some people have passed and perished for less, guys. I saw this teenager a couple weeks ago in the UK. Okay, there's a very popular coffee chain called Costa. All right. And this teenage girl went with her mom to Costa. I believe she ordered a hot chocolate. She had a severe allergy to peanut products or milk products or something that was in this hot chocolate. And her mother asked the barista, are there any of these ingredients in this hot chocolate? And obviously the barista didn't know anything. Pro tip, guys, don't ask the damn barista. They don't know diddly squat. First of all, if you have severe allergies, you probably need to be preparing your food. Okay? Because I'm telling you now, fast food, these people on the go, they don't give a damn, and they don't be knowing. They don't get enough money, so they don't care. There's too many customers. They don't care. If you have a severe allergy when it comes to food, it's better for you to be safe than sorry. You probably do not need to be getting anything out a lot. Okay? Unless, it's prepackaged stuff that you know. So if there's like a particular brand that's vegan or gluten-free or whatever you can't have, you can go pick that up. Even if you go with your friends for coffee and they want to go to Starbucks, and just to be on the safe side. Okay, you can purchase a beverage, a bottled beverage or something, drink with them. Or if you guys, hey, let's have a picnic, and you can prepare your food and take it to the picnic. Because I'm telling you, this teenager had just one sip of the hot chocolate, and she started having a reaction and she died. And she was just 14, 15, I believe. Understand that. If you have kids, I know some of my friends have young kids. Make them to understand that they are very, very special, privileged to be here. Okay? To be chosen. They are a chosen one. You are a chosen one. I am a chosen one. Number one. Number two, the rest of the world want to be us. Yes, they want to be us. They're doing everything to emulate us. Why does a superior person want to emulate an inferior person? That's the equation. The answer is we're not the inferior ones. That's the answer. In addition to them manipulating plastic surgery to mimic the appearance of our women, black women, they also came up with steroids to compete with the natural physique and athleticism of black men. Duh. Pressing problems in the world, guys. And this is what they're using their technology to do. It says so much. Another indication, your history is lost, hidden, concealed, manipulated. Why? Why? Let's say you were an inferior being. This is hypothetical. Wouldn't they want you to know that you were inferior? You've been inferior since the beginning of time? Hello? They wouldn't have any problems giving you a whole chronological, history of your people, because guess what? Your people are useless. Your people are not innovative. Your people are not beautiful. Your people have no significant contributions to history. Listen. That's not our story. Okay, our past and history, full of inventions, full of innovation, full of world wonders that they're still marveling at today. Hello, our artifacts all in European museums, pyramids, they're still digging up the mummies. Do you know the level of obsession that's needed to go and dig a burial ground, to keep digging burial grounds? We're talking about burials of people thousands of years ago. The whites are obsessed with Egypt. Obsessed with it. They're so obsessed with it. Although Egypt is an African country, okay, on the African continent, they've tried to estrange Egypt from the continent because they refuse to give the accolades to our people. If you're confused about if the Egyptians were African, first of all, demographically, it's very obvious. There's no other country on the continent of Africa that it's a debate if people are African or not. They only want to debate Egypt because Egypt's, ancient histories and ruins are so astounding. They do not want to attribute it to our people. But let me tell you something. If all you need to do when you go to Egypt, you go to the Cairo Museum. I've been there personally. All right. You see the hieroglyphics. You see the murals. You see the pictures and paintings of the pharaoh. What color are the people? What color are the people? You're not going to tell me that these Egyptians could build these pyramids and they're actually like perfect, dimensions and all these like incredible artifacts, and the people didn't know what color to depict themselves. When it came down to them depicting themselves, they didn't know what color they were. They were really whites, they were really Arabs, but they just happened to paint themselves in brown skin. Guys, and let me tell you, from my own world travels, there is so much of our history scattered across this world. There are blacks that went to Asia. The warriors, I think they're called like the Ronin warriors. There were blacks across Europe. Some of them are in cathedrals in the stained glass windows. Okay, there's Afro-Mexicans, Afro-Latinos. Okay, we're all around the world, and everywhere we go, significant impacts, innovation. We taught the Europeans how to be hygienic. Okay, non-blacks are still not hygienic to this day. So much we've contributed to history, but they don't want us to know, because that empowers you. When you know your history, that empowers you. They are literally doing everything they possibly can to keep you in the dark about who you are, to make you more insecure, and for you to be like this. Have these inferiority complexes. And then when you're inferior, you don't perform well, right? When you're inferior, you don't perform well. You lack confidence. You give up. You become an easy mark, a sitting duck. Big shout out to the African superstar family. Guys, the biggest challenge confronting Black men and women is the lack of confidence, their inferiority complexes. I played in this broadcast earlier a video of what's going on here in Ghana. Basically, the West is sending secondhand clothes, so to speak, but actually they're sending waste, okay? They're making it seem like they're sending secondhand clothes, and people are actually purchasing these packages only to realize that it's rubbish inside. Why are we tolerating this? Why are we allowing this to destroy Ghana's beaches and waterways? Because the waste then has to be disposed of, and we don't have, a huge waste, system here to handle that. In addition to the volume, they're sending so much of it here. They're essentially using Ghana as a dumpling. Why are we tolerating that? We're tolerating that because of low self-esteem. Yes, because if any other thing, we would reject it. We would say this is destroying our country. We're not taking your secondhand stuff. Even if it's secondhand stuff. I mean, I've shopped at thrift stores, consignment stores, and all that stuff. I bought plenty of used things. My first car was a used car. There can be quality in used items, but they're deliberately sending their rubbish. They're not even sending things that can be utilized. Okay, that's manipulation on their end. But that's low self-esteem on ours. Because why do we just immediately have this connotation that, okay, whatever comes from the foreign world is good and we want it? Even though the problem is now evident in that area, okay, because the waste is getting out of control. Big mountains of unusable textiles and all that going into the ocean, going into other waterways. It's a mess. But like I said on a previous live stream, okay, people will only treat you what you allow them to do. Okay, if you allow them to mistreat you, they will. In this context, if you allow them to bring rubbish to your country and destroy your country, they will. And please, continentals, I know that on the continent, there's so much to be desired about the outside world, because again, they also control the media, they also control the education, they control religion, and it's a very controlled narrative. And what I see here on the continent is just a complete lack of exposure. You know, a lot of continentals have no idea what's happening in the Western world. They just believe because they've been told and raised to believe the opportunity and everything is available to them. They don't even know. But I would say, please learn about these foreign countries. Learn about the environmental things that's going on in China. Okay, learn about what happens in America. Okay, they've destroyed a lot of their natural resources. They have destroyed and extincted a lot of animals and all this stuff. Now they're venturing onto the continent, and they're going to do the same thing, because habits die hard. Okay, be mindful when these people are coming in your environment. What are they there to do? They must be regulated. They must be regulated. But again, the low self-esteem says, who are we to regulate them? They know what to do. They come from a more developed nation. So we should just let them have free reign. No. Confidence, self-esteem, love of your homeland should say, no. You're not just going to come here and destroy our place, our homeland. We can't allow you to do that. We're not going to allow you to destroy our waterways. We're not going to allow you to destroy our beaches. Take your rubbish in your own country. Deal with it over there. Figure out how to sort out your own waste. Do not. If you're going to send us goods for us to, do mutual business, it needs to be quality items. If they were sending items that were quality, those things would go on to be sold. They wouldn't be discarded, because they could be used and they could be sold. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. All right, I'm in the comments now. If you have anything to add, please leave it. I don't know if it's a lot of comments. I may not get to the end because I need to wrap up soon. Big shout outs to Boom Junglewood. I see you there. All right, I'm aware of the name change. Thank you. Emmanuel says Black women are absolutely the standard of beauty, often imitated but never duplicated. It's just an undisputed fact. Black women know, because these other women, they want to be us. And Black men, you guys give them so much confidence by even giving them an audience. I know you guys suffer from the low self-esteem. Matter of fact, it's evident that you do in the inferiority complexes. Because if you think about it, why would you get an imitation woman? Why would you get an imitation woman? Now you're going to say, well, some Black women, they wear the wigs and they wear the weave, and say we don't slay. Say we don't slay every single thing that we do. Okay? We women of history have always been into their beauty. Whatever beauty things were available at the time, perfumes, makeup, wigs. Again, in Egypt, I saw wigs there in Egypt. Okay. At that time, wigs were a sign of nobility, of rich people. Okay. Obviously they're handmade, they were different designs and all that stuff, across Europe, they've also worn wigs, for fashion, for those that are in the law system and everything. I would say, because I change my hair a lot, I don't wear much wigs. Every now and then I wear one. But I think that Black women are entitled to versatility, because that's something that, again, we do. We're the only women that flip up our style like that. I could be curly today, straight tomorrow. I could rock braids. I could change colors. I can do all of that, and I'm going to slay it. I'm going to kill it. We are the standard, and that's just the end of it. And the elements that were most hated about us, just like I said, until they could use science to emulate our bodies, they used to talk stuff about our bodies, our big butts, our proportions, our measurements, our nose, our lips. Oh, you got this big nose. Oh, this, that, whatever. Our big eyes. Hello. Do you know that eye widening surgery is huge in Asia? Again, if you watch any of these Asian soap operas, these K-pop, all of them got big eyes. Who got big eyes? Where do big eyes come from? Whose feature is that? Certainly it's not an Asian feature. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it is what it is. But black men, you guys are giving these people a whole lot of confidence because you make them feel like they're special. They know they're an invitation. They know who the standard is. That's why they're always contending with us. That's why they got so much vim for us. That's why they're always watching us and copying us, is because we're their mother. You know, we're the standard that they want to emulate. And unfortunately, it's gotten to the point where some of our people, because a lot of black women don't know this fact, they haven't come to understand this fact. It's become so inverted that now, like I said, some black women are emulating white women who are emulating black women. So you get that example when you see black women augmenting their bodies. It's just like, wait a minute. White women are augmenting their bodies to mimic our body. So why are you augmenting your body to look like the white woman who's augmenting her body to look like us? And not only women are trying to mimic us. When the gay man or the transgender wants to look like a female, is he going to look like a white female? No. He's going to look like a black female. That's what he wants. Those are the features he wants. That's his whole, these gay men and everything, they take all their cues from Beyonce, you know what I'm saying, RuPaul. It's always the black female image is the mother. Okay, she's the mother. She's the one. It's just a fact. These people are taking their cues from us. So if they're taking their cues from us, if they're studying us like white on rice, memorizing all of our, mannerisms, our slang, everything, again, is that something that would take place of a inferior person? Why would a superior person want to know what the inferior people are doing? Why would they keep up with everything they do? It just doesn't equate. It just doesn't make any sense. Big shout outs to the family. Derek Weatherspoon, I see you there, brother. Thank you so much. Emmanuel Briggs, he says, we are a great and mighty people. They had to create laws and a whole system to try and control us, and it still didn't work. That alone should let you know the greatness. Big shout outs. What's up, Go Taste and See? I see you there. Big shout outs to you. Emmanuel says they are the only group of people who created the nuclear weapons and gave mankind the power to completely annihilate itself. So again, we're coming up with inventions, mind you. Okay, we're coming up with the internet. We're coming up with the stoplight. We're coming up with all kind of food dishes. That's what we're creating. Did you know we're writing the Matrix movies? We created the Maxi Pad. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. Those are our innovations. Some of them, just a little bit of what we do. They're coming up with weapons. They're coming up with BBLs. They're coming up with steroids. You see the difference? We're building pyramids. They got a White House in America that was built by slave labor. And I mean, it's a nice building and all, but it ain't that grand. How old is the pyramids compared to that? The White House. And do you know, when I went to Egypt, for instance, I learned that, not surprising, but the Romans and the Greeks, they were coming and protéging under the Egyptians. The Egyptians were teaching them building methods and, all kind of things. Now, according to history, that's not how the story gets told. The story doesn't get told that they were coming and studying in Egypt and that they were protéging in Egypt. But then again, the story never does. The story never, ever tells we are the ones who are at the back. Do you guys really think Colonel Sanders came up with that chicken recipe. Let's be real. We've seen how non-black people like their meat raw, right? Sometimes they don't even really like it cooked. They're not known for a lot of seasoning. It's just so unlikely that an old white man had this powerful recipe for Kentucky Fried Chicken. You know what I mean? It's very questionable. Big shout outs to that African superstar family. What's up, boo? MP in the building. Instead, they continue to attempt to demean and referring to us as children, a diss to our youthful appearance as black. That too. That's another thing. You know, plastic surgery, facelifts. You see, I mean, they don't age well. Get double chins, get, you know, baggy eyes, and you know what they look like. And we age better. You know, a lot of us. Now, some people do live hard, drinking, drugging, living that hardcore life. It will age you. But as a majority, we do age well. We do, you know, and that's actually attributed to our melanin, you know, which is why the more melanin you have, the better skin you have, and the more youthful you look. You age better. Melanin gives us a lot of things that the lack of melanin does not get. You guys got to start learning more about yourself if you're struggling with your identity issues and your low self-esteem. The more you learn, the more empowered you will become. And you'll start looking like, wow, you know what I mean? I really have a lot of elements. And you'll start understanding the hate and the backlash and the rejection from society because, you know, sometimes I feel like they want us to clap them. I feel like they want us to respond. They just can't believe that we just keep on not responding to them and not dealing with them. You know what I mean? The way that they need to be handled. Big shout outs. What's up? What's up? What's up? Mr. Tony Africa, I see you there. Thank you, family. Yes. Okay. And that's the last comment. Right on time, Mr. Tony Africa. That's right. That's right. At night, I think of you. That's why. So, big shout out to the African superstar family. Yes, in my opinion, lack of self-esteem, identity issues, inferiority complex, that is our biggest problem. You know, any of you guys know that if you ever were in a period where you lack confidence, you know, you were insecure, you know, it affected your outlook on the world. It affected your confidence levels. You know, like let's say recently when I traveled to the US, I gained a lot of weight over the summertime. You guys may have noticed in some of my videos, you know. And I've been, you know, vigorously working out since I got back to try to get back to my pre-travel weight. You know, when I gained that weight and, you know, some of my clothes couldn't fit. I mean, I didn't want to take pictures. I didn't want, you know, to be that seen, and I didn't feel that comfortable. I didn't feel as confident. You know, as I'm training, I'm starting to feel more and more like myself. You know, my face is starting to look a bit more because it was very full, you know, and I'm used to kind of a more chiseled look. Yeah. But I make the point that when you are not at your optimal best, whatever that means, and you know, when maybe psychologically you feel like something's wrong with me, you know, I'm not this and I'm not that. The more you enhance that, the more you learn, the more you improve, the more you achieve, it builds your confidence. It's a natural confidence booster. So for those of you guys that are struggling with identity issues, that's my advice to you. Start delving in more. You know, if you think you're not beautiful, go ask yourself why people are copying your beauty. You know, if you think you're not smart, go look at all the contributions that your people have made. You know, and obviously, yeah, you're not going to be able to hear it in schools. You're not going to be able to see it on the mainstream. You're going to have to do independent research. You're going to have to travel. You're going to have to learn things on your own. But I'm telling you, you take that initiative, it's very worth it. Because getting your psychological together will then dictate your life, and you will be a very you will be able to accomplish a lot more things when you are confident. You know, I feel invincible out here. You know, I feel like what I set my mind to, I can achieve. I may not be able to do everything overnight, you know, because of means or whatever situations, but I believe that, okay, I'm very, very capable. I'm very capable. I'm smart. I'm strong. You know, I can achieve things, but I know that comes from the confidence. You know what I mean? If I felt that I could never achieve nothing, then I won't. If you feel like you ain't never going to have anything, you won't. If you think you can't do something, you won't. And matter of fact, you won't even attempt it because in your mind, it's already resolute. I can't do this. I can't do that. Whatever, 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 whatever. Okay? So big shout out to the African Superstar family. I hope this message was well received today. Again, you can